Well, I don't know why that just happened, but the camera just decided to turn off. So, sorry about that. Right when I'm getting to the good stuff. So, again, we'll just continue where we were. 4 people called. I raised. It is up to, I raised 16. Got 1 caller. 2 callers, actually. I'm sorry, 2 callers. Flop comes up. Queen 10 8. Alright? 2 spades. Little scary, but okay. So I end up, I believe, guy checked to me, and then it went to me. Maybe 2 people checked. No, just a guy checked. Guy checked to me and it went to me. So I bet 20, I'm sorry, yeah, no, I bet 22 at it. And the one guy folded, coming around to the other guy, thinks about it for a little while, and he ends up calling. Alright, pretty happy about that. Hope he doesn't have Queen 10. Would suck if he did, but feel pretty good. Turn card hits a king. Alright, that's a good card. I like that card. I like that card a lot. Got top set, but technically, if he was sitting there with like, with Ace Jack, I was in trouble. If he was sitting there with Jack 9, I was in trouble. But I didn't really put him on that, so felt pretty good about it. I end up, checks to me again, and I bet 55. No, 45, I'm sorry, 45. He thinks about it for a little while, and sure enough, ends up calling. So I'm really hoping that he's sitting on a 2 pair at this point, you know, and that he doesn't have a straight draw or flush draw. A little scary. River card hits another 10, which, if that isn't the gin card for me, I don't know what is. So, and even better, it's a 10 of spades. So there's 3 spades on board. So really feeling good about that. Hoping that somebody does have, you know, this other guy has a good flush, and I'm going to take him with the boat. So he again checks to me, and I've seen that he had about 150 left. So I ended up, rather than saying all in, I ended up betting 150, which is actually what I had. I just grabbed 1 stack and 1 stack and went in. Well, the other stack had been being used, so it was down to 50, and the other one was 100. So I 2-handed it, 150. And I really should have just bet 200 just because it would have put him all the way all in. I miscounted, and I didn't see that he had some chips in his hand. So he ended up having about 180 behind. So I just bet 150. And he ended up thinking about it for a while, thinking about it for a while, thinking about it for a while. Finally makes the call, and I say, oh, second nuts, you know, kind of cool. And turns out the river card was actually a great card for me because he only had a 10. So I'm assuming a hand like Ace 10, and you know, middle pair, top kicker, rivers, the 3 of a kind, and really felt like he was, you know, sitting pretty well. So that hand got me close to 600. It got me like to 590. I was right there, almost to 600. Wish I would have just cashed out and left, but whatever. So that was a really good hand for me. Obviously, it gets me up, you know, you know, $290. So end up probably about 3 hands later, pick up Jack 9 again. Damn Jack 9. Jack 9. I don't remember what the suit was. But it was on the one off the button. So it had gone under the gun +2, had raised. The guy right next to me, you know, 1 off the button, or 2 off the button because I was 1 off the button, calls. I end up calling. And it was raised to like 12. Alright, not a big deal. Flop comes up. Oh boy. Jack 9 8. Alright. Problem is there's 2 hearts. A little scary. You know, but feel good. So, guy leads out just off the top for 40 bucks. I'm a little scared, you know, where I'm at. I'm a little scared, but still feel pretty good about it. I mean, it is top 2 pair. Sure, could he have a set? Yeah. Is it as likely? No. But that is still a possibility. So he bets 40. The guy next to me calls. I end up calling. Hindsight, I wish I would have shoved there. Just because I really think, after talking with the guy next to me, I really think that would have been a way to have won the hand. Sadly, this is one of those hands where I really couldn't win anything, and thankfully lost close to the minimum. So I call the 40. Turn card hits a queen. A little bit of a scary card. Again, you know, it's putting some straight possibilities, complete some straight possibilities. You also got to figure if somebody was sitting on a queen jack, now I'm beaten. Queen nine, now I'm beaten. Pocket queens, now I'm really beaten. So I was a little scared about the queen hitting. So due to initially bet the 40 checks, guy next to me checks, I check. Again, a time I should have bet. I really was thinking more trappy instead of, wow, this guy could have a flush draw. You know, this guy might be drawn to the straight. I should have taken a bet there. Didn't. Oops. So the river card hits a heart, and I know that that's a bad card. And plus, it was like a 4 hearts or something. It didn't connect to straight, but I knew the heart was bad. No, I'm sorry. I'm wrong with that. The flop was Jack 9 tray. Turn card was the queen. River card was the tray. And so it paired the board. So now if somebody had a queen, they had queens and trays, which that was like the worst card that I could hit. I'm sorry. I don't know why that wasn't in my mind properly. Probably because I got Jack 9 so many damn times. But I mean, that was really the worst card that I could hit. Not only did it finish off the flush draw, but it also then paired the board. So if the guy was sitting there with ace queen, hit the queen on the turn, now he's got queens and trays. I've got jacks and nines. So thankfully, how I say that I lost the minimum was it went check, check, and the guy actually ended up hitting the flush, thought that I was going to bet, that's why he checked it to me, and I ended up checking, and he rolls over the nuts. He had ace 7 of hearts. So I ended up letting it, it was a little costly pot. I dropped like $60 off of that pot, or $55, whatever. So that was a little bit costly, especially, after I built up decently. So that one kind of sucked. So now I was, after that pot and one hand kind of after that, I was down to about 500, which kind of sucked. So I'm still kind of grinding out, trying, picking my spots, raising here, raising there. Nothing spectacular, no like major hands after that. But still just, doing my best to pick up, pots here and there. I was being pretty aggressive. I had a lot of random ace 6 type of hands, ace 4 type of hands, and then spiked an ace. So I was able to, for the most part, do my best to pull down pots. And I mean, was able to kind of build up a little bit, drop a little bit, build up a little bit, drop a little bit, and was able to stay pretty close to right in the 500 range. Then I have back-to-back hands, one in the big blind, one in the small blind, where I called a small raise to 12, 15 pre-flop. The first one was with Queen 9, flop came up King 9. I had 10-9. I had 10-9 because the flop came up Queen 9 blank, and I check called pretty much the whole way down. Guy ended up having a queen. Very next hand picked up King 8. A flop came up Jack 8 blank. Check called all the way down. Guy had ace jack. So both of those hands took me down a good probably 40 or so. And then the hand that really ended up hurting is, again, I had Jack 9 on the button. It had been raised by under the gun +1 to 12. I called. 2 other people called. Flap came up Jack 4 tray, Jack 5-4, Jack 5 tray, somewhere in there. Jack was the top card. I had Jack 9. Felt pretty good about it. So I ended up, if I'm not mistaken, I was in the small blind. Yeah, I was in the small blind. So I ended up betting 22 right there. Guy ends up calling me. The guy under the gun +1 calls. Everybody else folds. All right. Turn card hits a queen, which I really didn't fear, just because at that point I'm thinking, what really would it have changed? So I felt pretty good still about, having top pair. So I end up leading out for 45. Thinks about it, ends up calling. Okay? I'm a little scared at this point, but I'm still, I don't know where I'm at, but I'm pretty sure that my top pair is good. The only thing I'm really worried about is he has a better jack. I'm thinking he could have a hand like ace jack, and I'm in trouble. That's what I'm kind of thinking of. So, river card hits an ace. And it was a scary card because technically he could have played ace king, you know, that way, just check calling all the way down. Could have played a hand like ace queen or a hand like ace jack, you know, and he not only got there on the turn, he got even better. Same thing if he outflopped me on the flop. So I was a little scared about it, I admit that, but I ended up checking to him. And I pretty much decided in my mind that I was going to call a bet short of him, you know, going all in or betting 100 or something. Just because I did feel that he could be making his play with an underpair, with a hand like pocket tens, or a hand like pocket eights, or something like that, you know, an underpair. He could have made the same type of play. He could have even just been floating me, you know, with a random king whatever type of hand, and just wanting to take it away. So he ends up betting 50 pretty quickly, and I thought about it for a little bit, and ended up calling, and he rolled over ace king. So it makes sense how he played it, just check calling, you know, check calling. He gets there on the river, what can he do, you know, like, this is kind of life, honestly. Like, I wish that it hadn't happened that way, but in the same sense, there's nothing else I could have done. I bet the flop, I bet the turn, he didn't believe me, you know, and sometimes not believing me gets paid off. That's just what it is. So that's what happened. You know, he didn't believe me. He got paid off. And that was a pretty costly pot. That ended up dropping me actually below 400 even. So that was a pretty costly pot. And it annoyed me as well. And then what also annoyed me is that he hadn't even pulled in all of my chips. And he left the table and went to another game. So that really pissed me off too. At least give me the chance to win some of it back, you know? Come on. So that definitely kind of annoyed me as well. But, you know, at the end of the day, I really can't. I mean, yeah, he hit a, you know, technically it was a 6-outer. But what can I do about it? You know, honestly, like, all you can do when you flop top pair is bet it. I bet it. I didn't give him, you know, proper odds to call, but he called. Like, that's just life, you know? So that was definitely a costly pot. But what can you say? I mean, last session I got lucky with some 4-outers, 2-outers. This time this guy did. So definitely still hurt. I would have loved to have been able to have taken that pot down. But, you know, what can you do? So that brought me down to about 370, and I'm pretty annoyed at this point. I mean, I went from possibly being able to book a $300 win to now up like 70. And then the doubt starts creeping in when you start having those thoughts of, God, am I going to blow this? Am I going to blow this? You know, I should just leave now. I should just rack up now. You know, you start getting those thoughts. But I said, you know what? No, I'm going to keep sitting here. I'm going to book at least a $100 win. That's what I decided. I'm going to book a $100 win. So it would have been nicer to book a $300 win, but whatever. So I decide, you know, let's keep playing. Let's keep grinding through it. And really, for the next hour and a half, I do. I just keep grinding it out, making plays, honestly. I never flopped anything better than a pair, but I had a lot of pots that I was able to just bet at. One I felt pretty good at. 3 diamonds flopped. I had ace 4 black hearts. 3 diamonds flopped. Check, 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 check all the way around. And then on the turn, a 4th diamond flopped. And ended up, was checked all the way around to me. I was 2 off the button. So 2 people checked. There was 1 person to act after me. I took a shot at it and said, you know, let's see what happens. So I bet 15 into it. And everybody folded around to the guy who was right next to me. And he actually said he had a diamond. But he's like, I actually had a good diamond. He says he had a jack of diamonds. I told him I had the king of diamonds. But so I took that pot down. So that ended up building me back up a little bit, right about the $400 mark. And then kind of went back and forth, back and forth. You know, would drop a call a raise and then lose on the turn, you know, have to drop out on the turn, but then would end up picking up a couple pots, just being aggressive, and would build it back up. So there really weren't any other hands up to that point that, you know, were of any significance. There were a lot. I played a lot of hands tonight. I mean, pretty much I played small ball every single hand other than that hand I had with the kings. and like a couple hands with ace nines, king jack offsuits, you know, on the button, stuff like that. But I would say 85 to 90% of my hands tonight, I just limped. And I put really small ball, and I kept the pots teeny, because I do feel I have pretty good post-flop play. And while I admit sometimes I'm not as great as I think I am, I do feel that I can make those decent, you know, decisions. So I feel that for a game like that, it was better for me just to keep it, you know, keep everything small and make decisions after the flop. So I did a lot of that, and there were a couple of hands that it backfired on me. You know, like the two hands that I flopped second best and check called all the way down. I would have loved to have been able to get away from those, but in a cash game, I really don't know if I could. I had another hand that I actually did get away from. I had ace six. Flop came up king queen six with a bet and a call in front of me, so I let that one go. Guy might have been on a flush draw, and the other guy might have had nothing, but I wasn't going to risk that because two of them were diamonds. So, I mean, I can get away from hands when I feel that I'm beat, but in the same sense, I really feel like I should have been able to get away from that ace-king hand when he hit it on the river. I mean, technically I was about 2 to 1 money odds to, you know, maybe even like 2.5 to 1 to make the call. So I really feel like that was one of those kind of bluff or ace type of hands. So I don't hate my call there. Honestly, I feel that I could have gotten away from it. Sadly, I didn't. But that is one of the parts of my game that I need to work on. I feel I've gotten better at overplaying one pair. I don't feel that I do it anywhere near as much. But even though technically I kind of did on that. But I do feel that I've gotten better with that. And that was one of my major issues up to recently, was overplaying one pair. So I feel I've gotten better with that. But I feel that I've got to be able to get away from hands a little bit better. And, you know, being able to muck top pair, well, what, flopping top pair, then a second best pair, and then third best pair on the river, I feel that I should have been able to get away from that. So what do you guys think? That's my point of discussion for this video, is what do you guys feel of that? I know that technically I was about 2.5 to 1 on the river there, and by how he played it, it fits that it would have been ace-king, but it also fits that it could have just been a total bluff, you know, and I guess I believed that it was the latter. So what do you guys think? Do you think that's a hand I should have been able to get away from? Do you guys find that you have trouble getting away from big hands like that, or even not big hands, but getting away from hands that sometimes don't make sense? And sadly, that was just how it was for this one. I wasn't able to get away from it. But at the end of the day, I ended up walking pretty soon after that, once I got back up to 400. So I was able to book another $100 win. So back-to-back $100 cash game wins. Pretty happy about that. And was able to cash out, and I put all my money into a chip. So I was able to get a pretty awesome $500 chip from the Venetian, which their purples are sick. Like, sick. I love them. Hopefully I'll get more. Plus, it was some awesome motivation. 2 tables over, they were playing, I don't even know what, but I saw colored chips that I'd never even seen before. I mean, dude had probably 12 grand worth of blacks, had a $10,000 wrap of cash, and then had a ton of pink chips. I don't even know what the pinks were, because they weren't standard 500 chips. So I don't even know what these were. They might have been thousands, I don't know. But it was sick. I wanted to play in that game. So that was some motivation. But ended up, like I said, only playing for about 3 hours or so, 3.5 hours. So I'm definitely going to go back tomorrow and get there a little bit earlier. Going to go hit the gym and then run straight on over there. So I'm going to grind it out most of the day. But just wanted to see what you guys think and see how you feel that especially that one hand played. That was my one hand that I really feel like I could have gotten away from. And other than that, I was pretty happy with my play for pretty much everything else. Sure, that Jack-9 hand, I think I did miss 2 different chances that I could have bet, and probably could have taken the hand down, to be quite honest. But, you know, I didn't. I don't hate my play on that, as much because I was slow playing it more. I was slow playing it more than I should have, just based on the flush draw out there. But I don't hate my play on that. But give me your opinion on that play as well. So, as always, I am Matthew Maley. This is MatthewMaley.com. And there you have it, my 1-2 no limit Texas Hold'em recap from my session over at the Venetian. This is technically video part 2. If you didn't get a chance to watch the beginning of this, check out video part 1. It's got all the intro to everything that I got to in this video. So I'll put a link in the description as well. As always, thank you guys for checking out my videos. I am Matthew Maley. This is MatthewMaley.com. Website is all up to date. YouTube is all up to date. Facebook is all up to date. Twitter and Instagram are all up to date. So check me out and stay tuned. I promise, if all goes well, I'm going to do 5 straight days of poker recaps, hopefully. And, well, stay tuned to find out if it happens. So, as always, thank you guys very much for checking out my videos. Leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think. You can always check out the rest of my videos on MatthewMaley.com. You can also check me out directly up on YouTube if you like. Just search for Matthew Maley Poker or MatthewMaley.com. You can also check me out on Facebook. I post all my videos on there, so just search for Matthew Maley Poker. You can also check me out on Twitter. I post all my videos there too, but they're harder to find because I tweet a lot more stuff. So search for me or just check me out at Matthew Maley. And finally, check me out on Instagram at Matthew Maley Poker. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.